Hey there, welcome back. I hope you all are doing well. So we are going to start a new series that is Top Interview 150, where we are going to cover these array string problems and then two-pointer approach, then sliding window, matrix, and so on. So we are going to learn all these 150 questions in the upcoming 150 days. So let's get started with our first question, that is merge sorted array. So the problem says that you are given two integers arrays nums1 and nums2 sorted in non-decreasing order. That means it is ascending order, and two integer m and n representing the number of elements in nums1 and nums2 respectively. We need to merge nums1 and nums2 into a single sorted array in non-decreasing order, and the final sorted array should not be written by the function but instead be stored inside the array nums1. To accommodate this, nums1 has a length of m plus 1, where the first m elements denote the elements that should be merged and the last n elements are said to be 0 and should be ignored, and nums2 has a length of n. So these n elements are the extra spaces which are present in nums2. So the job is to merge these numbers into nums1 array. So if we look at the example 1, it says that input nums1 equals to 1, 2, 3 and 0, 0, 0, and the size of this array is 3, which means the non-zero entities in the first nums1 array are 3 elements. Similarly, nums2 is equals to 2, 5, 6, and the size of this array is 3. So if we merge them together, the final output is supposed to be a non-decreasing array in a sorted fashion. So we all know 1, 2, 2, 3, 5, C wrapped together looks something like this one in increasing order. So if you notice, the exact number of elements are occupied the number of 0 which are in the first array. Just look at the another example. So here nums1 equals to 1 and m equals to 1 and nums2 is an empty array. Since it is an empty array, we do not have any preceding 0 in nums1. So the final output will be exactly same as the nums1. If we look at the example number 3, we have nums1 array which is equals to 0, and therefore we have m equals to 0. Coming to nums2, we have nums2 equals to 1 for which n equals to 1. So naturally, if you are wrapping them together, the final answer will be what? It is supposed to be one element inside it. So let's try to understand how can we approach this problem. So from the given input example, let's take an example of 1, 2, 3, 0, 0, 0, which is your nums1, and 2, 5 and 6, which is the nums2. So here the value of m equals to 3 and n equals to 3. And we know that we have exactly 3 number of extra zeros in nums1, which are occupied or which will be occupied by the number of elements inside nums2. How should we approach this? Right, the basic thought process which comes into the mind is, why don't we simply copy all the number into one array? So 1, 2, 3, 2, 5, 6, we can simply copy the nums2 into nums1 and then we can sort this array. Naturally, if you call the sorting function, we know for the fact that the final answer will be 1, 2, 2, 3, 5 and 6, which is the exactly output we are looking for. So this approach is just fine. So if we try to analyze the time complexity of this, we are calling the sorting function on m plus n, so the time complexity will be m plus n log m plus n, and the space complexity order of m plus n. So naturally we can say the solution will pass, but is this the most optimized solution or not? This is the question. Can we come up with an algorithm and runs in linear time? Let's try to analyze that. The example which was given to us said the numbers were 1, 2, 3, 0, 0, 0 and 2, 5 and 6. The job was to merge them together. How should we approach this? Let's try to pick the elements from back side of both the arrays, and let's keep a pointer p at the last element of nums1 array. So now if I compare p1 with p2, I can clearly see that p1 is less than p2. So naturally I can copy the number 6 on the last location, which is P, and decrement the value of P and decrement the value of P2. So we can see our intermediate array will look something like this: 1, 2, 3, 0, 0, 6, and 2, 5, and 6. Now again compare this P2 with P1. Clearly we can see P2 is bigger. So let us put P2 into the location of P. So our intermediate array will become like this, and P2 will be here, and P is here, and P1 is here. Again compare P2 with P1. So clearly see that this time P1 is bigger than P2, right? So that means take the number on P1 and put that number into its right location. So now the array we will get is 1, 2, 3, 3, 5, 6 with the indexes as P1, P and P2 as shown in the diagram. So decrement the value of P1 obviously because we have put 3 into its correct location. Now again compare P2 with P1, and on the comparison we can see the number 2 and number 2 are just the same. So that means we can put either of them into its correct location. So let's say we'll put P2 in the place of P. So the intermediate array will look like 1, 2, 2, 3, 5 and 6. And now P2 will become -1. It is gone out of the array. We have exhausted all the possible numbers from the nums2, and we have put them in the correct location, which is out there. So do we need to sort this remaining array? Absolutely not, because we have already know that the input sequence was in a sorted order already. And since we have put all the numbers from nums2 into nums1, that means I do not want to sort the array once again. So I can simply say by the end of this P2 becomes negative. Then that means we have got the final input array as the output. So we can simply return the answer based on this index. So let us try to understand the coding aspect of this. So as per the logic, let's declare the variable int I equals to m-1, j equals to n-1, and let's say we have pointer k which is equals to m plus n minus 1. So this kth index is pointing to the nums1 at the last location. So ith position is present as the non-zeroth entity, and j is pointing to the last entity of nums2. So what do we need to do? We need to start iterating on the values of I and j and check which one is actually bigger, and based on that we'll place that identity into its correct location. So we can say that while I is greater than equals to 0 and j is greater than equals to 0, then we need to perform some operation inside this. So if nums of I is less than nums2 of j, that means the nums2 is bigger. So what we have supposed to do? So we need to take the number from nums2 and put it into its correct location, which is the index k. So that means nums1 of k minus minus should be equals to nums2 of j minus minus. Else if the number is bigger than the nums1, then that means take the number from nums1 of k minus minus should be equals to nums1 on I minus minus this time. Naturally, if we have exhausted all the possible elements from nums2, then we are done. We don't have to do anything. But if we exhaust all the possible numbers from the nums1, that means we have some numbers remaining in nums2. So what are we supposed to do? We simply copy all the elements from nums2 and put them into correct location based on the index k. So let's do that. So we can see that while j is greater than equals to 0, simply put all the elements from nums2 of j minus minus, and we need to put them into nums1 of k minus minus. That's it. So now let's run this code. So yes, our test cases are accepted. Now let's submit it. So our code is just submitted. So this is how we can solve two different arrays into one. We can club two different sorties into one in linear time complexity. So I hope you like this video. In case you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. And if you like this video, please subscribe it. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.